Yes. Yeah. That was it.
In my mind.
Runs in the family. So when you're shooting Dazed and Confused, though, like, are you paralyzed with grief, or are you able to just kind of move past it, or use it, or what? What was it? What was the feeling?
Definitely more grounded. So here, this first thing happens. I get my first acting job. I love it. People are telling me I'm good at it. I'm getting invited back to set. I'm like getting paid $320 a day. I'm thinking, is this legal? Can I get away with this? I'm having a great time on a high of my life. Bam, that happens. Well, what had just become the most important thing in my life, getting my first job in acting that I loved, became an obvious distant second. And so I came back and was very thoughtful. I remember walking around the football field in that final scene in Dazed and Confused. It was just before sunset, and Rick Linklater and I were walking around. I just got back from my dad's wake, and we were just talking about, hey, what's it all about? Life. And I said, you know what, man, I think it's about you just keep living, man. I mean, like my dad, he's now gone, but I have an opportunity to keep alive in me what he taught me about what I loved and why I loved him. And if I keep that alive, he may physically not be here, but spiritually he's still alive. So I have that opportunity. So I think you just got to keep living, man. And then that night in that scene, I said it to Randall Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to sign the drug contract. And I was like, you know what you do when you're going to get a whole lot more rules once you get older. Whatever you do, you just got to keep living, man. And then that sort of just sat on me as I'll find a phrase or a bumper sticker or an aphorism, and I'll test it in life and take it into life and see, does it apply or where does it not apply? Can it hold up? And look, it's a simple one. But just keep living. Even Chekhov said it. What else are we here to do?
Sure.
It is never. I've never found a place where it's not applicable.
And I like that. I like that. All right was just sort of a throwaway, and then it became the defining phrase of your life.
Dude, the 3 affirmations of the things my character had at that time. Wooderson.
Yeah.
He had his car, 70 Chevelle. He had his weed because Slater's riding shotgun, and he had Ted Nugent in the 8-track, so he had his rock and roll. And he was going to get the 4th thing that he loved, which was go pick up the chicks.
Yeah.
And pulling out after putting it in drive, I said those 3 words. There was also, I had been listening to a lot of the Doors at that time. And there's a recording of Morrison in a live concert where he barks to the crowd 4 times. All right, all right, all right, all right. So maybe that was somewhere in the back of my mind too.
Yeah.
To do it in Wooderson sort of way. And then just laid down the 3 affirmations of what I had. And those are the first 3 words I ever said in film. So the reason I love it when people say it, or tattoo it on them or whatever, and walk down the street and say half of it and I say the other half.
Yeah.
Those are the first 3 words I said ever on film 28 years ago. Now, I didn't know at that time if that was going to be a one-off hobby where I got to work for a week in the summer of 1992 and never did it again. But it turned out to be a career. So I'm like, please. Yes, I'm in. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
That was it.
All right.
That was the baptism. That was it.
Come on.
But I think it's interesting that the one part of whatever you do to sort of identify with these characters, like, you talk about that it was one line he said. That, like,
Launchpad line.
Right. And that's something that's your tool.
Yeah. A launchpad line.
Like Wooderson, it was, what was it? Like, I'm going to get older.
That's what I love about those high school girls, man. I get older. They say the same age.
And you were like,
dude, I read that. I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
If that guy really believes that, that line is not an attitude.
Yeah.
If that's like part of his constitution, there's an encyclopedia on that guy.
Right.
In that belief. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
The way I was able to riff on that was one of the lines that were written when he tells the Jordan Belfort, the Leonardo DiCaprio character, the secret to stockbrokering is cocaine and hookers. I'm like, what? Who's that guy?
Yeah. Right.
There's a book on that guy, if that's truly his perspective. And he really means that. A launchpad line.
Right. But that, like, that's how you start, because you refer to these guys as your man, and so you're going to take that. That's your window into them to put that together, to write that book.
Bingo.
Right.
To write that book. Then the rap starts. I can write that song.
Yeah.
Now, hundreds, thousands of pages based off of that one-liner. Unpack that. Deconstruct that guy.
Right. And right after you do, like Dazed and Confused, then you have this kind of run. Like you work with with Sayles, right? John Sayles.
John Sayles on Lone Star.
Because that was an interesting movie.
Yep.
And you work with Linklater and you work with Sayles, and they seem pretty organic about their process. I mean, those are the kind of movie makers. It's a good way to start.
Oh yeah, what a great way to start. I mean, they weren't huge budget studio films where the machine is kind of leading the personal side of things. They weren't huge, studio movies that you had money to pay for everything.
Right.
So you had to get more creative and independent. You have to sort of be able to adapt quicker.
And they both have a vision.
Stories.
They got a vision.
Yeah, they have a vision, and they're more personal. They're not the spend on those are not for the star in the movie or the special effects. So it's interpersonal. The story's got to be written well, and let's see how we what story we tell on the ground through human interaction. So I saw collaboration is what I saw. But I went into Dazed and Confused thinking that like directing was a dictatorship, and like if you didn't know something, you were obviously failing as a director. And I said, see Linklater pick up an idea from a PA. I'd see Linklater go to a spot like that night when he came to me. He just told me this about a month ago. When he came to me that night, my very first night, I was not supposed to be in the movie. I had not been in the movie at all yet. I was just doing a wardrobe and makeup test, and he came up and he goes, "Oh, look at you. Yes, you look like Wooderson." And then he goes, "Hey, man, I figure Wooderson's the kind of guy who's been with the typical hot chicks, the cheerleaders, majorettes and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you think he'd have interest in the redheaded intellectual?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Wooderson likes all types of chicks, man." And he goes, "Well, Marissa Ribisi's over playing. You think you maybe pull up and pick her up?"
Yeah.
Well, I said, "Yeah," but I found that 2 months ago that actually 15 minutes before that, Rick was on the set and noticed, without having anything to do with me, that, I got a story hole in our story right now. Who's going to tell everyone there's a party tonight? No one knows there's a party tonight to get everyone to go. Yeah. So he comes and he says he sees me. He goes like, well, maybe Wooderson could be the one that says there's a fiesta in the making tonight. And so he gave that to me because he needed a story point. He didn't tell me that until 2 months ago.
Yeah, I know, because the story's in the book about would you hit on the redhead? But now he tells you, it's like, oh yeah, I just need. Yeah,
I needed you to fill a story. I need you to move my narrative along, man.
So the big break is A Time to Kill, right?
That's the big, yeah.
And that's
the big.
What was the
Joel Schumacher?
Right. Well, what was that guy? What was the line that got you into that guy?
So the line that got me into that guy, well, with that character,
yeah.
I mean, look, I'll say this. I knew even at that point that if that final summation doesn't absolutely nail the truth,
right,
then it doesn't matter what the rest of my performance is like. That the turn in that story depends on Jake Brigance delivering that final summation and hitting and getting the jury into that world, and then making the flip where he goes, "Now imagine she's white."
Right.
Kiva Goldsman wrote that, and I knew early on, I was like, this summation is the thing that has to work. If this doesn't work, doesn't matter how good you do in the rest of the movie. The movie doesn't work, and your performance won't work unless you nail this. And that, that summation, I had that day flagged in my calendar for months. And once we got to it, I remember going in, I was very, very calm that day. I was prepared. I was very calm. I knew it was a big moment for me.
Right.
And I remember Joel Schumacher going, "Okay, so Matthew, we're in there in the rehearsal." He goes, I'm going to shoot the jury first. We'll do the wide shots. You can warm your way up into it. And I wasn't even looking at him. I was kind of gazing off. I was already in my zone. And he was saying that, and I was not agreeing with him. And I just kind of glanced out of my eye, and I went, and he goes, without missing a beat, he goes, "And we're going to shoot the wide." No, I take that back. We're shooting Jake Brigance's close up first. Everyone get ready. And everyone came in, cover me first, one take, bam. Move on. Oh,
so you did that was it. You did that close up first. Because you didn't want to do it more than once.
I said he could tell I was locked in. I let him know without saying I was locked in. And so he said, "We're not going to shoot everything first and let you warm up. We're going to cover you right now first because you're ready."
Right. And then that was it, man. Then all of a sudden, I remember the press. It's like the new Paul Newman is here.
Yeah.
This is the guy.
Saves the movies.
What the fuck, dude?
Right? Oh, it was wild, dude. It was wild. I remember going through, going to the supermarket, getting my groceries, looking at 3 magazine covers, and I'm on the cover of them, going like, well, I think I'll purchase a few of those. But then I remember it was, and I write about it in the book, the world became a mirror. Everything got inverted. The Friday before it came out, the Friday afternoon of the day it came out. Yeah. Like I said, there were 100 scripts out there I would have said yes to. And there were 99 no's and 1 yes. Bam, it opens up Friday night. It has a good opening weekend. That Monday, it inverted. 100 scripts I want to do, 99 yeses, 1 no. And I was like, whoa, 3 days ago, I would have done any of these. And now it's on me. And last time I checked, there's only 24 hours in a day. It's on me to be discerning through 99 of these scripts to decide what I want to do. Let me catch my breath here.
Right. And have you been with the same agent forever?
No. That was at the time I was with, that was right around transition, I think, when I went from William Morris over to CA. I believe that was a transition time.
Because like those decisions, I mean, like it's interesting because in the book, when you talk about the career and you talk about like how, like, because you didn't take a lot of acting classes, but once you got to LA, you felt like you should. So you did. And you felt like it fucked you up somehow.
It did. You know that transition when you learn a new craft. Something, if you have an instinctual understanding of something, and you kind of do it pretty good. And then you go, let's go get learned. Right. Let's get the intellect and let's learn something. There's a bridge you have to cross where there's an awkward period there where for the first time you're conscious of what you're doing. And you're learning how to do what you were just doing naturally.
Yeah, but it's also according to this one person you decide to trust with the education, right? So you go to this class and all of a sudden because you have an instinct for it and you're good at it, but you want to get better at it. So it's like, who's this guy? Well, these people told me this is the guy. And then you go listen to the guy.
No, and it didn't work. I was too tight. I had an awkward couple of years there where I was not getting the parts because I was thinking too much.
Really?
Now, later on, as in my career, I did get with a wonderful lady, one of my great mentors, like Penny Allen, and really dove into what acting was, what my rights were as an actor.
What movie was that? When did that start?
That started right before Ed TV and went up to 2 years ago, and she just passed away from cancer. And that's one of the most important people in my life. I was with her for I think 19 years
as a coach.
Yeah, she wouldn't call herself a coach, but she was I don't even know what to call her. She was people that worked with her know that she's like no other. She had no connection to the business side. She had no connection that like, oh, this movie has got a studio behind it. This could be a big deal. She didn't care if it was getting offered $1 or $10 million. She was just only about the role and what was right, what was truest for me. And she just pushed me. Now that she did, as Don Phillips says, lower my handicap as an actor. That first foray did not.
Well, it's interesting because like your instinct around the idea of the line, what'd you call it? The launchpad line, and building out from that, that's teachable. Like that, that's like, but any actor, I think most great actors are naturally 80% of it is just a gift, and then, then the other 20 is some education and also just doing it over and over again. But I mean, that's as good a tool as any acting coach is going to give you is like, here's your launchpad line. See, figure out what the book of the character is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But also I learned more from her. Like there's a lot more to it. It's like you go, well, don't just rely on the one launchpad line that you think your character takes literally. Let's see who he is, but let's also see who he is not. Let's see what they need. What is their obstacle they got to get over to get what they need? So it's not all just easy street. The who am I? The launchpad line helps a lot with the who am I in a character. But also I learned a lot about how to get out of trouble when I got in trouble. If I got stuck, if I got tight, if I had tension, tension's an actor's worst enemy. If I had tension on set, if I wasn't happy, I learned how to get out of trouble. I learned when to go walk off and take a moment, when to go shake it out. And, okay, come back. Let's reapproach this